Good morning. Today we're going to talk about angles and radian measure. Before we start, I wanted to show you something really cool that I saw on the news today. I saw this rocket, SpaceX, makes a launch today. And let me see if I can find the good one here. There it is. This is some crazy math going on. Yeah, somebody has to be really, really good at their math to do this. And then if you go even further, I've been watching these videos all day, it goes up in the clouds, then it goes, okay, I'll go past that. It's going to fall back and land. Okay, it's fallen away. Look how high up it is. It's above the clouds, right? So you see this thing falling back. It's going to go and land on a landing pad. So I'm going to fast forward to that part where it lands. All right, let me go to another thing here for you. Oops. All right, so then it starts to land. Look at it coming in. It is going down back to Earth. This is amazing. I'm going to fast forward. And here it comes. It's going to go back and it's going to go through the clouds and it's going to land. I can't even jump off of a ladder and hit the ground the right way. That is some crazy math that these guys are doing. Come on, ladies. And here it goes. Amazing. And that's what we do math for. Okay, so back to what we were doing. We were talking about angles and radian measures. We're going to go back to the unit circle and talk about how 360 degrees is equal to 2 pi radians. All right, if you really wanted to know the degree of a radian is about 57.3 degrees. But I'm going to show you some ways to do this. These are formulas for this, and I'm going to show you how to calculate that. So how do we convert degrees into radians on the unit circle? Well, remember, it doesn't actually have to be a unit circle. It can just be any circle. So an entire circle is 2 pi. So if we wanted to divide it up in the 45-degree marks, we're basically going to take 2 pi and divide it by 8. Okay, hold on, let me go figure out how to do that. Okay, so if we take this angle right here, we all know that that's 45 degrees right here. All right, so we're going to take, that's basically 1/8 of 2 pi. Okay, so that's 2 pi divided by 8. If you put 2 pi divided by 8, put in lowest terms, it's basically pi over 4. All right, so you can do that with all of your angles. All right, this one is basically, if you say that's 1/8, that's 1/4 of 2 pi. Okay, you're just counting by eighths, basically. So that's pi over 2. And that's 90 degrees. Okay, and then this is basically, it goes around, this is, what is that going to be? That is going to be 3/8 of 2 pi, right? Counting around 1, 2, 3/8 of 2 pi. So that's really 6 pi over 8, which is really 3 pi over 4. So you get the idea. You can go through and figure out the entire circle this way We know 180 degrees is pi. All right, and so then we can keep going. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 5/8 of 2 pi. Okay, so that's going to give us 10 pi over 8. And if you put it in lowest terms, it's going to be 5 pi over 4. All right, and then we know that this is 3 pi over, no, it's not 3 pi over 4. Sorry, it is 3 pi over 2. Okay, the reason would be is because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6/8 of 2 pi, okay? And that's 12 pi over 8, which is 3 pi over 2. Then we go one more, this is going to be 7/8 times 2 pi. And that's going to give us 14 pi over 8, which is going to be also 7 pi over 4. So that's kind of how you can calculate your degrees to radians. You just say, well, if I take the whole circle and divide it into a part, it's going to turn it into a fraction. And you can do the same thing with your 30-degree angles. Okay, so here's your 30, here's a 60, here's a 90, and it keeps going. I'm not going to do all of them, but if you're dividing it by 30-degree angles, you're basically dividing it by 12, okay? Because 360 degrees divided by 30-degree angles gives us little 12 segments, okay? So what you're going to do, let's say we want to go all the way up to 60 degrees. Here's 60 degrees, all right? And how many of those 12s? Well, here's 1 12th and 2 12ths. So 2 12ths of 2 pi. Okay, well, that's going to give us 4 pi over 12, which is really just pi over 3. Okay, so you could think of it that way. You could also think, well, this is 1/3 of, ooh, I drew the wrong line. This is 1/3 of pi. So if you can think in terms of pi, you can do that too. So if you only think in terms of pi, you've got 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. Those are each pi over 3. All right, and so you can do that with any of them. So let's say you've got this little crazy one down here, all right? So what is that going to be in terms of radians? Well, how many segments of pi are you going? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're doing 8 over 12, because there were 12 of them total, times 2 pi. That gives us 16 pi. Oh gosh, something crazy is happening here. 16 pi over 12. And so then you put that back into lowest terms, divide everybody by 4, and that's going to be 4 pi over 3. Okay, 4 pi over 3. Sorry, my handwriting is really bad. All right, so how do we figure out what that is in degrees and radians? Well, let's go see how we can figure out how to do that. All right, so the way I think of this, if a radian always has pi in it. Okay, so we're going to take 330 degrees and we're going to multiply it by a radian. And remember, a radian is really just pi over 180 degrees. Okay, so we're going to go and change it to radian. Let me go ahead. Times, okay, so we're going to do it times pi over 180. Okay, you don't want to cancel any pi's out, so that's why we have to put the pi in the top. All right, and so that's going to give us what? That's 330 pi over 180. Well, you got to put that in lowest terms. Okay, and once you put it into lowest terms, it looks like it's going to be 11 pi over 6 is 330 degrees. All right, and let's say you start out in radians and you want to change it to degrees. Well, you want to cancel out your pi's. So obviously, if you have pi in the top, in order to change it, cancel it out, you're going to have to multiply it by 180 over pi. Okay, so you don't want to have pi in your answer when you're doing degrees. So we're going to go and put that in lowest terms, and that's basically 360 pi over 3 pi. And obviously some things are going to cancel out, and that's going to give us, what is that going to give us? 120 degrees. Okay, so let's go and use this information. Now there's all your stuff that you had when you had the unit circle, and it gives it to you right here, but you can go and just work it out on your own. But you should be getting kind of familiar with this when you start dividing. These are all given in terms of pi, not 2 pi. So if you need to think about it and divide your circle in half, and then just think of how many parts of pi we're talking about, it might make it easier. All right, so let's go evaluate the cosine of 4 pi over 3. All right, well, where is the cosine? Where is 4 pi over 3? So let's go, and I got a picture for you, but let's say you don't have it. So you got 4 pi over 3. You're going to multiply it by 180 over pi, and let's see what we get. All right, so that's going to give us 240 degrees, which we already knew. All right, so where is that going to be? That's down here. All right, that's this angle right here. So now you just got to go and find, well, what is your cosine here? Well, it looks like our cosine is our x value, so that's going to be 1/2. So the cosine of 4 pi over 3 is 1/2. And it looks like we need to have a square root right there. Somehow that didn't show up on the PDF. Okay, so your assignment is going to be to complete page 348, number 16 through 33. And I am going to give this to you on a PDF so you can have that and you don't have to watch the video. All right, have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.